Good Tuesday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top news stories, let's take a quick look outside our weather window. And today, more snow this morning. We actually saw some sunshine around our noon hour time between 12 and 1, and then more clouds rolled in. We saw some more afternoon flurries today. And this is a shot from Jump Off Ridge from our Sky-Fi Tower camera. Looking down, yes, at the Wenatchee Valley down there and to the left center of your screen, Wenatchee Heights area. So we did still see some clouds, a little bit of fog around, and a little bit of blue sky even as that storm system moved away. But we're still not really out of the woods quite yet. We do have some more snow in our forecast. Not so much tonight or tomorrow. There's our forecast snow total through probably about tomorrow night or so, about an inch or two here in the Wenatchee area. Most of the heavier snow will move off into the panhandle of Idaho and into western Montana. But by the time we get into Thursday and Friday, things change a little bit. As you can see, we could see another 4 to 6 inches of snow from the next storm system that moves in. That'll be during the day on Thursday, overnight Thursday, and maybe a few scattered snow flurries as well on Friday. So don't put those snow shovels away quite yet. We'll have more weather news for you coming up a little bit later on. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. Travel restrictions over the Washington Cascades is a nightmare for motorists, but the weather-related closure of I-90 Snoqualmie Pass and US 2 Tumwater Canyon is also causing freight mobility problems. It was another snow day for students in north central Washington as another in a series of Arctic storms hit the region last night. And the Douglas County Courthouse in Waterville was also closed today due to extreme weather conditions. But first, we begin tonight with what else? Weather. I-90 Snoqualmie Pass was closed down last night due to numerous collisions and spinouts caused by blizzard-like conditions. One of the accidents resulted in death about 2 miles east of the summit. According to Washington State Patrol troopers, the driver of a big rig was killed when he crashed his Freightliner truck into a median barrier after suffering a medical episode. The driver, whose name is being withheld until family notification, was from Missoula, Montana. Travel restrictions over the Washington Cascades is a nightmare for motorists, but the weather-related closure of I-90 Snoqualmie Pass, as well as US 2 Tumwater Canyon, is also causing freight mobility problems. Vehicles over 10,000 pounds are not permitted to use the Chumstick Highway as an alternative route over Stevens Pass, forcing truck traffic to detour over Highway 12 White Pass or south to the Columbia Gorge. There is no estimated time for reopening Snoqualmie Pass. Over 53 inches of snow was measured by the DOT avalanche crew at the summit. That's over the past 48 hours. This was the scene also of a semi-truck rollover yesterday on White Trail Road near Quincy. The truck was carrying a load of apples, and luckily nobody was injured in that accident. Also, air travel between East Wenatchee and SeaTac continues out of Pangbourne Airport during the storm. Horizon Airline crews were out early this morning working hard to get the 6:30 flight off on time. Well, it was another snow day for students in north central Washington as another in a series of Arctic storms hit the region last night. There was no school today for students in the Waterville, Quincy, and Moses Lake School District. That all due to weather and road conditions. Classes started 2 hours late in the Wenatchee, Eastmont, Cashmere, Mansfield, Ephrata, and Soap Lake school districts. Another round of snow is expected, as I mentioned earlier, Thursday and into Friday morning. Well, the Douglas County Courthouse in Waterville was also closed today due to extreme weather conditions. However, the Douglas County Clerk's Office in Superior Court was open. The Douglas County Auditor's Office was also open for elections purposes only today and will remain open until 8 p.m. for election night tonight. If you have questions, please contact Ruth Martin, and that phone number is 888-6403. Coming up next, though Wenatchee School Board President Sonny Hemphill said last week the legislature is to blame for the district's $5.2 million budget shortfall, 12th District State Senator Brad Hawkins said that isn't necessarily fair. They're not saying who they are yet, but the Wenatchee School Board has 3 finalists for its superintendent's job. And Cashmere Mayor Jim Fletcher discusses future growth in Cashmere. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
Antique Mall at Cashmere wishes you a happy and prosperous new year. With 15,000 square feet to explore, Antique Mall at Cashmere has something for everyone. For repurposing projects, do-it-yourselfers, and those with a keen eye for making something old fresh and new again, this is the place to find your next project. Antique Mall at Cashmere, their friendly staff is here to help you. Stop on by today.
Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Welcome back. In another news, the Wenatchee School Board President Sonny Hemphill said last week the legislature is to blame for the school district's $5.2 million budget shortfall. 12th District State Senator Brad Hawkins said that isn't necessarily fair. Hawkins spoke with NCWLIFE this morning, saying the state school funding formula created last year was designed to be equitable to all districts while easing the tax burden on property owners.
Well, I don't know that it's necessarily fair to, because of the legislature's change, to say that that's why Wenatchee School District needs to reduce its funding by $5 million. I mean, like I said, back in 2012, the funding per student was about $8,000 state and local. Now state and local, even with the reforms, is going to be over $12,000 per student. So I think the realities for some of the school districts, not so much just to focus on Wenatchee, but for many of the school districts, the state has been providing significant additional funding. But their school district expenditures have outpaced their revenues, even despite their revenues significantly increasing. So then it becomes a question of how much of that is the state's responsibility and how much of it is the local responsibility. If school districts are choosing to invest so significantly their extra funding into their staff compensation, they need to make sure that the agreements, the collective bargaining agreements that they've entered into, are ones that they can sustain. And if they choose to make so many investments in those things or other programs, then they might need to make some reductions in some other areas.
Well, they're not saying who they are yet, but the Wenatchee School Board has 3 finalists now for its superintendent's job. District Communications Director Diana Haglund said each of the candidates' names will be released the day prior to their appearances at public forums next week. Board President Sonny Hemphill said, quote, "The finalists chosen are all incredible," unquote. The person hired will replace Brian Flonis, who's retiring. The public forums will be February 19th, 20th, and 21st from 3:30 to 5 p.m. at Wenatchee High School. Well, while the city limits of Cashmere have not moved in a while, the community of Cashmere continues to grow. This has left city fathers with the challenge of planning for the little town's future. Mayor Jim Fletcher was a guest with Eric Granstrom on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley discussing a recent workshop.
We broke into small groups, had conversations around, well, what is it about Cashmere's future that we're trying to work towards? What do we want to see saved? How are we going to handle this growth that's going around us? And try to get ahead of this a little bit rather than reacting to it. And the things that still came out is the cloudy town is that you can get around, you can walk, you feel safe, you feel like you know people in town. You walk into a store, you're generally going to see people that you know in those stores. a cohesiveness that just feels like, a small town.
Of particular concern for Fletcher and the city is the upcoming replacement project of the Goodwin Bridge. This will leave Kashmir with one way in and out.
If there's an emergency, how do they get across the tracks when there's a train blocking them? And so we've been looking at putting a satellite aid car on the south side of the tracks, maybe at the city shops, just in case, so we have a backup aid car. It's not that it happens every hour. Well, it does happen quite frequently, but when there's an emergency, you want to have an alternative to get there, in a way of getting that aid car to where it needs to be. Long term, that might even be, something more of a fire truck or something parked on the south side. That's the first issue, to take care of the emergencies. The second one is, we have to encourage more patience, because it is going to be everybody on Division Street heading out to the highway some way. There aren't only so many ways there. We're going to have patience. We're working on how can we deal with that, how can we encourage other alternatives, but there are physically not too many choices.
And you can see the entire interview with Mayor Fletcher on our Watch on Demand page on NCWLife.com under Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. You're watching the NCWLife Evening News. Coming up next, tonight's feature story and your complete local weather forecast. That and much more still to come on the NCWLife Evening News. Stay with us.
Family roles change with time. You may find yourself being an unpaid caregiver to a loved one. Caregiving can be rewarding, but also stressful. Taking care of yourself is vital. Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington has low or no cost services for unpaid caregivers, such as in-home support, care supplies, and counseling. Connect in your local area by calling Aging and Adult Care at 800-572-4459 and mention you're interested in caregiver support.
I'm working today.
I've got some work to do today.
Don't forget, I've got some work for you today.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Thanks.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in our community.
New beginnings feel great, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Be a job creator. Goodwill. There's more behind the store.
Everything we do is about delivering very high quality care and keeping our patients safe.
We really work as a team here, and so that's really what makes it worthwhile.
I give 100% every day, and I do that because I work for a company that I believe gives 100% back to me.
The bottom line is we genuinely care about our employees.
It is the most incredible place to work, and you will be inspired every day.
Welcome back to the NCWLife Evening News. In tonight's feature story, an exploration of the heart was underway at the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center on Saturday morning as local students and medical professionals braved the winter conditions for the Matters of the Heart dissection lab.
So your heart's a muscle, right?
Yeah. My name is John Gill, and I'm a retired internist from Confluence Health. We are here to dissect a pig heart with some young people with the idea that we're going to try to teach them how the heart works, what the circulation is about, hoping to get them interested in a healthcare field of some sort. A year and 3/4 ago, I was in Cedars-Sinai in Beverly Hills, and I had a heart transplant at that time. I went into heart failure starting in actually March, probably February of 2012. Gradually went into more and more heart failure, had to have a pacemaker, had to have a biventricular pacemaker. Then I was on a drip for a long time. I had to go to the U every 2 weeks for 2.5 years. I'm tall and I have an O positive blood type, makes it harder to match. So they sent me down to Cedars-Sinai where there's more hearts. And after waiting in the hospital on a drip for 4 weeks, I got a heart. And the heart was just magic for me. I feel 15 years younger now, and I can do anything I ever could do before, except I got older. so I'm a little stiff, but that's all right. I did tell them all about this and how the structure of the heart can impact people's lives, and like the auricles, the atria, tend to cause strokes in people in atrial fibrillation. So we talked about how that happens and why that happens, so that they will be able to identify those structures when they hear about it on the news, and they'll be able to correct the news broadcasters who don't usually get it right. Sorry.
And then these right here are popular in Los
I think a lot of young people especially, but it's true of a lot of people, have this sense that they can't do something like this, that this is science and it's too complicated for them to handle. And this gives them confidence that they can learn this kind of information, and that they could then become whatever they want to become, a nurse, a doctor, a nurse practitioner, a massage therapist. But it's interesting, the kids are kind of fun because when they first start out, they're very shy and they don't want to do anything. And so what I did is I showed them the outside markers on the heart, how they orient themselves to the left ventricle, the right ventricle, the atria, and the aorta, and the pulmonary artery, and then the vena cava, and the pulmonary veins, so all the structures that lead to and from the heart. We let them start cutting and feel what it was like to cut tissue, because it's just meat, and they got more and more interested in doing that, and really were not shy at all once they got going. These kids in general are just a great deal of fun, and it's really fun to watch them gain confidence and learn from all of this. And they're really very pleasant, they're really fun to deal with, and this is a real privilege for me.
Time now for a check of your north central Washington weather forecast. And boy, another big dump of snow here in the Wenatchee Valley, anywhere between 4 and 7 inches, depending on where you live, throughout the valley overnight. And as we take a look outside our weather window, now you can see a little bit of the Wenatchee Valley. This looking down from our jump off ridge Sky-Fi tower camera. Right over here is Wenatchee Heights, where there was at least 20 inches of snow just from one snowstorm. That was Friday night into Saturday, and we had more snow. I know at my house in East Wenatchee, at least 20 inches of snow since Friday when it all began, and we're not out of the woods yet. We'll talk about that in a second. We didn't get all that warm today, even though we did see a little bit of sunshine with that blue sky out there. We thought we might climb into the upper 20s to near 30. We just didn't make it there. High temperature today reached 23 degrees, still well below 41, which is our normal high temperature. 16 was our overnight low. 27 is where we should be for lows. 59, our record high set 4 years ago in 2015, and our record low 16 degrees. Seems pretty mild, doesn't it? So we tied that record. As you can see, we reached 16 this morning, so we tied that record from 1989. We have picked up another 0.16 of an inch of moisture from the latest snowfall, and that now gives us a total of 1.37 inches for the year since January 1st. Sunrise 7:11 and sunset this afternoon at 5:20. Taking a look at our surface loop now, tonight at 10 o'clock, we'll still see mostly cloudy skies out there and still a 30% chance of mainly light snow, maybe just isolated flurries even, as this system continues to push out of Washington state. This is the storm system we're watching to come our way by Thursday. But enjoy Wednesday, because we will actually see some sunshine tomorrow. Maybe a little bit of cloudiness in the morning, mostly sunny in the afternoon. A little bit warmer too, as most of the snow will be in the Intermountain West, the Western Rockies poised to pick up at least a foot of snow. And then by Thursday at 1 o'clock, a 60% chance of snow, where we could see maybe 1 to 3 inches of new accumulation as this area of low pressure brings that moisture into north central Washington. By Thursday at 8 o'clock, I think even heavier snow, an 80% chance of it. 2 to 4 inches of new snow once again possible overnight on Thursday. That could give us a total by Friday morning of maybe up to 7 inches of new snow. And then by Friday at 1 o'clock, weather quiets down a little bit. We'll see partly cloudy skies throughout most of Washington state. Temperatures won't be too bad, maybe around the freezing mark. Saturday, 1 o'clock, o'clock, partly cloudy. Still a chance for just some isolated flurries floating around out there. Most of that will be in northern Oregon and maybe around the Walla Walla area for most of the snow on Sunday. So the weekend really doesn't look bad. As we move into Monday and past that, we will see colder temperatures, and then another round of snow moves in the middle of next week. Let's take a look at your quick lube and tune forecast now. And tonight will drop down to a fairly mild 20 degrees. If we reach 32 degrees, the freezing mark tomorrow, that will be the first time that we have seen the freezing mark or better all of the month of February. 17 our overnight low for Wednesday. Good chance for snow on Thursday, at least by Thursday night. Remember, 4 to 6 inches of snow is possible as we get into Friday morning. It's a good thing. Friday afternoon, partly cloudy and quiet. We'll see 33 for Friday. Not bad as we kick off the weekend on Saturday at 31 degrees. We'll also have some quiet weather on Sunday and 30, and then a little bit cooler on Monday with mostly sunny skies. And that's a look at your local weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
When you have to get there on time and looking good, call Fast, Friendly, Reliable AC Checker, 663-TAXI. Available 24/7, AC Checker Taxi has the industry's only on-time or it's free guarantee for your pre-booked call. Some conditions apply. Call 663-8294. AC Checker, 663-TAXI. Schedule your ride ASAP or book up to a year in advance online at azchecker.com. American Classic Checker Taxi, 663-TAXI. That's 663-8294.
Since 1932, Camp Seneca, nestled on the beautiful shores of Lake Wenatchee, has provided children grades 1 through 12 with the ideal location for kids to learn new skills, have fun, and make friends while creating memories that will last a lifetime. Camp Seneca's rustic log cabins and their staff serve to provide each group a unique summer camp experience. Register for Camp Seneca today, www.campfirencw.org.
And now it's a sports update on the NCWLIFE channel.
And a happy Tuesday to you. Come snow or sleet or dark of night, they were bound and determined to get the District 6 1A tournament's first round of the books last night at Wenatchee High School, and they did. And on the girls' side, a familiar team rose to the occasion once again.
The Cashmere girls captured their 6th consecutive District 6 championship last night at Wenatchee High School with a 76-37 win over OMAC. The Bulldogs were led by the 37 points of junior Haley Van Lith, who says winning championships never gets old.
I think it will never get old, and each year we have a new team to work with, and I'm so proud of us. We're playing our best basketball when we need to be playing our best basketball, and my teammates are playing great right now, and it's just a great feeling, and we're definitely not satisfied, but we're happy with our progress.
Junior forward Grace Erdman chipped in 12 for Cashmere as she and her teammates had to wait 10 days to finally play last night's game.
You know, it's year 3 for me for district championships, so I'm pretty happy. I mean, these girls, we've been working hard the past 10 days, I think we've been practicing. So just to be able to come out and finally play with the delayed game and everything, we were just super psyched to come out and play with each other. Yeah, it's a great feeling. You can never get old of cutting down that net in front of all your friends.
The game was supposed to be played last Saturday, but was postponed due to weather. Cashmere coach Brent Darnell says he could tell the layoff caused his team to come out a little slow.
It's postponed, and there was a little lull there. You know, you're waiting 7 to 8 days to play, so and you're playing a team that you've played 4 times in a row, and that's hard. You know their strengths and weaknesses. They know your strengths and weaknesses. But excuses aside, you still got to come play.
Cashmere will advance to a crossover game against either Deer Park or Colville in Cashmere. For Van Lith, it's all about taking that next step.
Obviously, we want that state championship, but we know from upsets, we've been upset before, we can't overlook anybody, and that's just the great thing about 1A girls basketball is the competition is great, especially at state, and we just have to take it one game at a time.
Congratulations to the Cashmere girls on yet another district championship.
In the earlier game of the night, Chelan had its season end with a 47-39 loss to Okanagan. Okanagan will face Omak in a loser-out game at Brewster High School. That'll be tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Cashmere girls will host either Deer Park or Colville on Saturday. The District 6 Boys Championship took on a much different look in the evening's finale last night.
Boys Championship game featured the fourth installment of Cashmere versus Omak. The last time they faced in late January, the Pioneers came out victorious 74-64. The way things started last night, it looked like Omak might be primed to win again. The Pioneers staked a 7-1 lead before Cashmere got things in gear. There were 4 lead changes and 1 tie in the first quarter, with the Bulldogs grabbing the lead by 4 at the break. Both teams lit up the second quarter, combining for 8 3-pointers as Cashmere led at halftime 38-31. And despite Omak trimming the lead to 3 in the third quarter, the Bulldogs never gave it up and went on for a 70-58 victory and the district championship. Mason Lendak led all scorers with 22 points.
I mean, this means the most for us as a team. Just working hard, battling through all these losses and wins, and just coming back strong. Just means the world to us right now. I say we're running into the playoffs for a home game. We're running high. We're undefeated at home right now, 8-0, so I think we got a good chance at home.
Sam Phillips scored 14 points on a bad ankle. Coach Levi Hyen said having a couple of days off helped.
You know, it really helped us. Kind of lucky. Sam Phillips rolled his ankle real bad last week, and it was bright purple, and we weren't sure if he was going to be able to play even today. And, you know, tape it up, little adrenaline, played 30 minutes, had a big game for us. So those extra days of practice, I really think helped us. They probably disagree, but I think they were big for us. We could just get the mats out and the pads and be more physical. We're smaller in stature. We just tell these guys they have to play bigger than them and bigger than they are, and they do it.
Hyen said it's sweet to win the district title, but even more to find out if his team could win and overcome a rough shooting night.
We talk about if we don't shoot well, can we still win? And this answered that question. We know we can score, but can we get stops? Can we get rebounds? They've proven that now, and so yeah, we're definitely playing our best basketball right now. That was a great basketball team. It helps us a little bit. The Gage Wilson, their best player, you know, he's been averaging 28 points a game against us and 15 rebounds, and I think he only played 9 or 10 minutes. But a lot of that's these guys being physical and frustrating them a little bit and getting some over-the-back calls and things like that. So, you know, I think our kids had a lot to do with him being in foul trouble.
Cashmere is the district champs and will host a crossover game Saturday night at Cashmere High School.
Earlier in the night, the Chelan boys had their season end with a 62-39 loss to Omak, so it'll be Omak and Okanagan for a last chance to move on tomorrow at Brewster High School. That'll start at 8 o'clock. Cashmere, by the way, will host either Lakeside or Medical Lake Saturday night at 8 at Cashmere High School. Coming up on the prep schedule for today, well, the Central Washington 1B District Tournament gets underway at Ephrata High School with the Entiat girls facing Moses Lake Christian. That'll tip it up at 6 o'clock tomorrow. The Entiat boys will take on Riverside Christian, also at 6 at Ephrata. The Big 9 district play-in games have been moved to tomorrow. Yes, the Eastmont girls will have to wait another day to be at Davis at 5:45 tomorrow. The other game has Eisenhower at West Valley at 6. On the boys' side of the District 9 play-in game, also moved to tomorrow night. Eastmont, or the Eisenhower boys, are at Moses Lake at 6. Eastmont and Davis also at 6 o'clock in a reunion of the Juarez brothers, the two coaches for either side. Again, that'll tip it up tomorrow at 6 for a chance to get to the district tournament that begins on Friday. That's a look at sports news. I'm Eric Granstrom on the NCWLIFE channel. Grant, back to you.
Thank you, Eric. And finally tonight, someone called police yesterday in Bothell to report that some neighborhood kids were sledding down a snow-covered road. In turn, Bothell police went to the scene to investigate. The following video is a result of that investigation. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-6295. Also, keep it right here on the NCW Life channel tomorrow morning for Wake Up Wenatchee Valley with guest host Eric Granstrom. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for joining us, and have a great night.
The NCWLIFE channel is your home for local news, local weather, and events including live local high school sports. Watch inspiring local shows featuring local people. Don't miss Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Let's learn. Guada TV. Street Talk and Other Stuff. The 12th District. Life with Lisa. And the Arbiter of Stoke. NCWLIFE channel is your local TV station.